establishes a sound cue.
An art film?
It's an art film.
An art film.
Art film.
Where's an art film?
In doubt.
Big art film.
Boy.
A film with art in it.
The camera, the most important piece of equipment in motion picture.
Thousands of images, each of these images the direct responsibility of the cinematographer.
His importance and influence are felt from the moment a motion picture begins to take shape until it is completed.
One of the most important crews in motion picture production is the camera crew. Its several members are led by the director of photography.
He has served a long and thorough apprenticeship in all phases of cinematography.
A normal lens reveals the subject in approximately the same perspective as the human eye views it. A longer lens, or telephoto, brings the subject closer, while shorter wide-angle lenses seem to place it further away.
Thus, the magic of the cinema lens gives to us a limitless power to teach, inform, demonstrate, inspire, sell. But with this power, we must also assume a heavy responsibility.
Telegram for the audience.
What does it say?
It says here,
I am an eye, a mechanical eye. I, the machine, show you a world the way only I can see it. I free myself for today and forever from human immobility. I'm in constant movement. I approach and pull away from objects. I creep under them. I fall and rise with the falling and rising bodies. This is I, the machine, maneuvering in the chaotic movements, recording one movement after another in the most complex combinations. Freed from the boundaries of time and space, I coordinate any and all points of the universe wherever I want them to be. My way leads towards the creation of a fresh perception of the world. Thus I explain, in a new way, the world unknown to you.
Today we are going to discuss and demonstrate videotape editing. This is our editing equipment. We use two sizes of videotape. Here Greg is holding a 3/4 inch video cassette. Patrick William is holding the other type of videotape, a 1/2 inch or a VHS tape. Eddie Graves is loading a 1/2 inch tape into one of our camcorders.
Editing calls for a high degree of manual skill as well as an understanding of the subject.
Editing gives a film its sense and continuity so that it can tell its story clearly.
This is a tedious, painstaking process, but through it, many unusual concepts are achieved.
The editor can radically affect the emphasis and meaning of a film by his cutting.
Electronic editing was introduced in 1966, and vast improvements have since taken place.
You're looking at the control console of a revolutionary new editing system, a computer-controlled random access memory editor.
Now, all the video that I shot is being represented like a film in frame after frame after frame.
I've got all my scenes loaded on a hard drive, each one being represented by a picture icon.
Complete video production studio on your desktop for under $1,000.
It's important to remember that without editing, there's no final product. Only bits and pieces.
But whatever the future of video, you can bet it's digital. Now I'm going to hit stop. This is simulating an assemble edit.
Let's see.
It's the open. These are all the shots. I've got 1 hour.
What does it take for the job of film editing? It takes an individual with these qualities: dramatic judgment, storytelling sense, a feel for pacing and tempo, endless patience, and most of all, an ability to take genuine pleasure in ruthlessly discarding most of what so many have worked so long and so hard to produce.
Hey there! Get your fingers off the film. That's better. Any friction against the surface of moving film is likely to produce a scratch. It shows on the screen as a dark vertical line, like this. And this. While we're talking about scratches, here's another way to make them. The film is wound too loosely on the reel. We think it ought to be tightened. So we grab the reel firmly and pull the film good and hard. This is called cinching the film. And the scratches we get are called cinch marks. They look like this.
We are listening to music in which every sound was created electronically.
One of the things that I enjoy most about electronic music is its immediacy. The composer normally waits quite a long time between the time he puts notes on paper and hears his piece performed in a concert hall. But a composer working with electronic music is more like a painter or a sculptor who works directly with his medium. You hear the sounds as they are created.
Electronics has opened the way for a new form of expression, electronic music.
Through the use of synthesizers and computers, it is possible to create, imitate, and change sound.
Music can now be produced entirely by electronics. No known instruments are involved.
A range of sounds beyond the natural limits of mechanical instruments and the human voice.
After smashing a glass and recording it, we can now modify that sound to create new effects. Hello? Hello?
Musician Gary Chang adds an electronic sound to his own voice.
The little pop you hear at the end of the sound is what I've just drawn.
The next step in computer-composer interaction is real-time production synthesis, a live interactive performance between computer and instrument.
So in order to create music, what you do is you move your hand around and you pick up notes and you set them on the staff. After you get the notes set up on the staff, you can move to one of these little pictures here. If you want to play the music, you go to the little piano, which is there.
I turned to electronic music mainly because I found I couldn't get the kinds of sounds I wanted with live players and ordinary instruments.
Notes are replaced by numbers. The computer converts these numbers into impulses that cause sound waves to come directly from a loudspeaker.
A whole new range of creative possibilities has been opened to the musician.
Electronic music gives composers a control and an organizing ability they never had, and it gives them sources for new sounds.
The composer is telling the computer what kind of sounds he wants. Using computer language, he is describing a melody he wants to use in a composition. This melody by Bach, the computer can help manipulate this melody in many ways.
The laws of probability and chance indicate if an infinite number of monkeys are given typewriters and allowed to peck away for an infinite time, they will eventually produce all the world's great literature.
What starts with a typewriter and a piece of paper goes out over all the world.
Becoming a writer is a leap into saying, I can do that differently than anyone else can. And of course, that's true of everybody.
Writing is primarily managed procrastination, where you just try to keep yourself in this comfort zone where you think you're doing enough.
Of all the tasks that go toward making a motion picture, that of the screenwriter is the most fundamental, the most basic, and the loneliest. What millions of people see at its beginnings in a lonely room, in the mind of a writer.
But monkeys, like humans, also turn out quite a bit of absolute junk.
Once upon a time, in the place called California, there was an enchanted kingdom. It was said the streets were paved with gold, and it was inhabited by gods and goddesses, sorcerers and elves, wise men, jesters, and kings. It was loved, for it offered human multitudes a rare and precious gift. escape from the mortal coil into wondrous flights of fantasy.
On the outskirts of Los Angeles, they settle in a small rural community called Hollywood, where the reception is somewhat less than enthusiastic.
Wait a minute. You ain't heard nothing yet.
In the mind of every young performer lurks the most powerful Hollywood dream of all, that at any moment fate may strike, that anyone can be plucked from the chorus line or crowd of extras and thrust into the glamour and glory of stardom overnight.
A character comes to life on the screen as a real person when the director and the actor work together to show not only the character's actions, but to reveal why he acts as he does.
Before long, movie making becomes as much fun to watch as the movies themselves.
To these people, to you and to me, the motion pictures bring magic.
It was, in its time, the greatest theatrical enterprise the world has ever known. A massive assembly line for production of dreams and profits.
Now, let me see. My movie should run about 20 minutes. That'll take about 7 rolls of film. At about $8 a roll, that'll be $56. Then magnetic striping, $18. So, 20-minute film will cost about $75. Boy, movies sure cost an awful lot.
Hollywood did not invent the movies, but it polished and perfected the art of making them and the business of selling them to an audience of millions. Within the Dream Factory's guarded walls were created all forms of adventure and delight. It was a place of ultimate illusion where any scene the human mind could conceive could be brought to life.
And we have the movie's first highway chase. The year, 1903.
The Dream Factory. At its worst, it was spendthrift, crass, and vulgar. But at its best, it offered a rich, romantic, compelling world of illusion. The producer's grand conception, a writer's subtle art, the magical realization of brilliant directors and actors, these are beyond mortality. They remain for future generations to study and enjoy.
I find filmmaking to be an extension of my personality. It's a way of expressing things where I'm inadequate under normal means. I use it really subconsciously. I use it to aid myself, to make up for what I cannot do in normal life, to act out my fantasies. I just wanted to see what I could do, and I think it worked out very well.